an F-35 being dismantled and loaded inside a giant C-17 heavy lift aircraft. So this kind of thing is precisely what the Royal Navy is currently looking at after having practically given up trying to fix this aircraft. Let's tell you a little bit more about this aircraft before we go to our guests and understand how difficult it's going to be to get this thing back to the UK. It is part of the most expensive military projects in the world, the F-35, the Joint Strike Fighter. The F-35 program over its entire life will cost over $1.7 trillion. Just think about that number. Most lethal, survivable and connected fighter aircraft. The reason I'm telling you all this, of course, is to even think of an aircraft like this just sitting on the ground for 19 days in India gives pilots an advantage against any adversary. It's like, in many ways, looked at as some kind of a Brahmastra by the countries that operate it. Stealth coating, radar blockers, lots of secretive technology are part of this. Advanced AI and data fusion, part of the technology is encrypted software and sensors. That's one of the reasons why the Brits are very skittish about this technology being away from them for too long. It has nuclear and, of course, missile capabilities. Foreign access has raised big concerns, but India and Britain obviously have very close diplomatic relationship. Who can dismantle this aircraft? Only Lockheed Martin trained engineers. That's the company that manufactured these aircrafts. There's a great deal of military oversight which is necessary when dismantling takes place because these are highly specialized aircraft. Every move is logged and verified because it's also a very expensive aircraft. Even screws are security coded, which is standard in fighter aircraft. But loss of a jet can be looked at as a data breach risk as well. And that is one of the reasons perhaps it has actually taken so long to arrive at this plan B to get this aircraft back to where it came from. It came from a ship, but it might have to be taken back on a giant C-17 aircraft. Joining me live now to understand what dismantling and moving this aircraft back might actually entail, Group Captain MJ Augustine Vinod is a former fighter pilot. You've seen him often here on my show. Also with us is Group Captain Ajay Alawat, also a fighter veteran of the Indian Air Force. Gentlemen, thanks very much for being with me. Group Captain Vinod, I'd like to kick it off with you. Aircraft on ground, for various technical difficulties, etc., is not abnormal. I'm sure you've seen it in your career as well. But 19 days and running, doesn't seem normal to anyone for a fighter of this kind. It's explainable given the circumstances. But now we're told it might have to be into a C-17 and taken back.
Aircraft getting stranded in a foreign base, especially aircraft of this caliber. I mean, jokes apart, I put the joke behind me. We've discussed that. You have discussed that ad nauseum in one of your shows where, the Kerala tourism taking a dig at this aeroplane being stuck and stuff like that. But be that as it may, Shiv, an aeroplane of this caliber getting stuck and recovering such an aeroplane is an Herculean task because of two reasons. A, the equipment required to recover this aircraft is specialized. So including the battery connectors are, typically made for such a fighter like this. Even, currently, if you look at the photograph, you can even see the wheels are deflated. The main wheels are deflated. I don't think it has adequate air while it is standing. And in Air Force, we don't let an aeroplane stand for 18, 19 days on its own weight. Beyond 15 days, we declare it aircraft on ground or AOG, and we probably jack it up. And standing at one place for an aircraft of this technology would have taken a toll on its serviceability state as it is. Secondly, and most importantly, is recovering this aircraft is, like I said, is something which will require a lot of equipment to be flown in while you start repairing them.
So I actually wanted to try and understand that. Group Captain Alawat, specialized equipment just to dismantle the F-35 is something, people are going to be trying to wrap their head around. So we can't use standard equipment to dismantle it then.
Well, good evening, Shiv. I have had the good fortune to spend about 7 months with the Royal Air Force when I flew the Hawk with them. And I know them, culturally, they are like Lakir ka Fakir. They don't really believe in Jugaad. If the book says something, they tend to follow that. So it takes away a little bit of initiative and ingenuity from the whole thing.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned that, aircraft getting stuck is not unusual, but getting stuck for this long is definitely unusual. I was watching your show before this. I don't suppose the Keralites would expect the crew to start speaking Malayali now because they've been here for too
Malayalam.
long.
Yeah.
But just to give you a example for reference, in October 2004, one of our Mirage 2000 landed with wheels up in Mauritius. Wheels up landing is different from a landing which this F-35 executed, claiming low fuel initially and then probably some hydraulic fault. In 3 weeks, our Mirage 2000 was airborne and it landed in India. So yes, it is a very complex aircraft. 20 million lines of codes, 8 million lines of codes within the aircraft, 12 million lines of code in the support system. It costs $40,000 for 1 hour of flight time. It costs around $10,000 just to turn it around.
Yeah.
Simple turnaround. It is a complex aircraft. I get it. And, we would all say it's difficult, complex. But no, it should not be that complex. There is something lacking there.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Group Captain Vinod. 19 days is abnormal. I mean, you guys have flown fighters, so you know that, a million things can go wrong putting an aircraft out of action for a few days or a few weeks. But 19 days, even though this aircraft is far from home, yes, we don't have the standard equipment, the Royal Navy doesn't use Jugaad. Even accounting for all that, 19 days is a lot.
No, see, I'm just trying to break it down why it must have taken so much of time is to fly in the technical support equipment and the ground equipment will require a lot of diplomatic clearances. Before they go for the diplomatic clearances from their own Air Force and probably even the ministers or parliament, before they expose the ground equipment of this aeroplane, the ground GSE as we call it, ground support equipment of this aeroplane itself, Shiv, is shrouded in a lot of mystery and a lot of red tape and stuff like that. So flying in those kind of equipment and doing a repair on the tarmac, that too, I mean, I tweeted about it, that too during monsoon when in Trivandrum, it can, rain at the drop of the hat at this time of the year. And moving them to the hangar as CCTVs. And CCTVs monitor, I mean, no hangar in India which does not have a CCTV.
Yeah.
So CCTV monitoring what are they doing, CCTV getting a glimpse of what is inside it once it is opened up, and that falling into their fear, we'll never do it, their fear of that falling into the hands of Russians. These are few things I'm sure they must have discussed ad nauseum behind closed doors and must have realized that it is probably not a good idea to take it into the hangar. Probably in situ, they'll break up the wing and put the fuselage in and put the wings on either side and fly it on a C-17. Probably looks like a better idea. If I were them, probably I'll also do the same thing. If this aircraft is of so high, shrouded in technology and, like you said, an AI and stuff like that, what could we learn visually while they are repairing? I really don't know.
My question is also, should we feel sensitive about this? India and Britain, Group Captain Alawat, are good friends. We have a steady relationship. We do military exercises together. If I'm not mistaken, we have a sort of logistics sharing agreement also going between us. So, would there be security concerns over aircraft? Is that normal?
No, absolutely not normal. We've flown British aircraft for a very long time. The Jaguars, which still fly, the Hawk. I don't get it, the security angle. And, if it was one of our aircraft stuck in UK somewhere, they would not have provided the level of assistance and the eagerness that we've shown.
Wow.
Their crew lands here and within hours, if not minutes, they get clearances to get whatever equipment they want. So in terms of assistance, I think we've been more than forthcoming. The second aspect with my colleague brought out about mystery and all. F-35 is no mystery. It has been here before on 2 Air Indias. It has spent close to 2 weeks. Our test pilots go on exchange program to US and they get exposed to this aircraft. If Royal Navy is worried about mystery, we probably know far more than they think we know. So I don't think so. Mystery should be an issue. Security should be an issue. I again wonder, why have they taken 3 weeks to come to this conclusion? If they need to dismantle it, they should have started it quite early. Why this, the process of fault finding has taken so long? It does not speak too well of themselves.
There are many geopolitical aspects to such things, and you can add to that also, Group Captain Vinod, but also take my question. There are all these international angles to the F-35. The F-35 competes against other fighters, etc. So there are many wheels within wheels of the aviation world. Has the F-35, as a consequence of what has happened in Kerala, 19 days on ground, do you think it has suffered any reputational damage? You are a fighter pilot, so you would have a very technical view to that question.
Absolutely. In fact, we've been discussing every day ad nauseum on this. Shiv, is initially we said we gave them the hangar. They said yes, and that day, in fact, I thought it will move into the hangar and start the repair work. And by 2-3 hours down the road, they said no, we'll not move it to the hangar. So I can't understand what could be the reason for not moving it to the hangar, except for the fact that they are afraid once they open up the aircraft, what could we, get a peek inside. Though there is no other reason why they should have any kind of fear for not moving the aeroplane into the hangar. So yes, point well taken of Alawat, but it still brings me to that point where they would have to take not only permissions from their government, but also the original equipment manufacturer, in this case the United States of America. Even there, like Ali brought out, there is a lot of red tapeism there as well. So OEM may not have given permission, or may have given permission, or may have said conditional permission, or may have asked what has really gone wrong, please let me know, for which they allowed to fly in the technical people here to find out what has really gone wrong. Really don't know, but as to what is their fear. Especially when, in India, we honor whatever we say. And if we say we'll not look into you, we'll not look into you. They should have taken our word for it.
True. This is fascinating. There are so many questions I still have, but we will hopefully leave that for another day. I hope that the aircraft doesn't need to spend too much more time on the ground, because after all, Britain is a friendly country, and we wish the F-35 a safe journey back, whether it goes back on its own power or whether it has to be ferried back on a C-17. Whatever it is, we'll be keeping track. Group captains, both of you, thank you very much for your time here on India Matters. Thank you. And finally, after Prada tried to appropriate the Kolhapuri and Dior has tried to do the same thing with another Indian art style, it looks like Louis Vuitton has decided to go a different direction and actually pay tribute to India with an auto rickshaw. That's right, a bag by Louis Vuitton that looks like an auto rickshaw. My friend Mayank brings you the full story.
You must be wondering, where am I headed looking all dolled up with my LV bag? Well, it seems these days that the West is obsessed with our day-to-day things. From Kolhapuris to eating with our hands and now an auto rickshaw. At the recent Paris Men's Fashion Week, French luxury designer Louis Vuitton presented their Spring-Summer 26 collection titled Voyage to India, where creative director Pharrell Williams designed a line of India-inspired accessories, from auto rickshaw bags to snakes and ladder runway, and Sandook-style iconic LV trunks. The inspiration was Wes Anderson's 2007 film, The Darjeeling Limited, for which designer Marc Jacobs and Louis Vuitton designed the costumes. The models walked on a giant hand-painted snakes and ladder runway by artist Bijoy Jain of Studio Mumbai to soundtrack by A.R. Rahman. Auto rickshaws have been around since the 1940s, but it has taken the Europeans almost 70 years to understand the charm of this easy breezy mode of public transportation. These accessories immediately gained attraction on the internet, and LV was appreciated for not just getting inspired, but also crediting the Indian culture and artisans unlike its competitor Prada. भैया आपको क्या लगता है इस बैग का प्राइस कितना होगा?
500 का होगा भैया।
500 रुपए. Okay. Now I'm not sure what's the price of these Louis Vuitton bags, but getting to my destination will be definitely cheaper than that. चलिए भैया.
I wonder how many auto rickshaws it would take to actually pay for one of those bags from Louis Vuitton. But hey, at least they're paying tribute to India, unlike a few other big fashion houses. Well, that's a wrap on India Matters. Thanks so much for watching. It's over now to my friend Maria, who is doggedly pursuing the big NDTV campaign.
Absolutely, Shiv. We have been putting that spotlight on that story. Hello, everyone. This is The Last Word, and I'm Maria Shakil. On the show tonight, first the story that we have taken up vigorously for the last 2 days, the shocking beating of the Thane shopkeeper by the M&S workers. We will put the questions to the Maharashtra government again. Why are these goons still not in jail? Who exactly is protecting them? At 1/2 past the hour, the big political showdown in Bihar.